So in honor of Fight Week for UFC 316, let us discuss the co-main event. Juliana Pena versus Kayla Harrison. This is quite a big event. It didn't really have much appeal to me, but it is a title fight, so it is worth discussing. And Kayla Harrison is somebody that is currently in the MMA spotlight, mostly because of her judo, but also because of her trash talk, which is pretty good, and her aura, for lack of a better term. She has noteworthy aura. You could see she stands out, and some may say because she looks like a man, others may say because it's because of her musculature. But I just think it's the culmination of everything that makes her so noticeable and noteworthy. And I think she herself is going to bring a good amount of eyes to the fight that she has with Pena this weekend. Juliana Pena is a great fighter in her own right. Don't get me wrong. But sometimes these women's title matches or women's main events or what have you, they don't always end up being highlight reel must-see TV. But again, not trying to disrespect the women's fights. Some women's fights and some women's fighters are absolutely legendary, like Zhang Weili, absolute badass. So yeah, Juliana Pena, Kayla Harrison. It's going to be a good fight. Both women really want the win. I really see this being a very, very competitive fight. A lot of people still deem Kayla Harrison to be an absolute killer, despite her striking seeming a little lackluster given her last performance. But her ground game is there. The judo is there. Those judo trips are so clean, and they come out of nowhere sometimes. They're very fast. She knows how to get her opponents to the ground with relative ease. The only thing that worries me about Kayla Harrison is her striking. It kind of looks weird, uncouth at times, if that's a way I could describe it. Unbalanced, clumsy even sometimes. Pena doesn't have world class. I wouldn't call Pena's striking world class either, but I would argue that Pena's is better than Kayla's. When it comes to ground game in general, Kayla Harrison has great trips, but Juliana Pena has great wrestling. She's got really good wrestling, man. Really, really good wrestling. So I think the ground game is going to even out. Although a lot of people might say that Kayla Harrison is just going to mow through Pena when it comes to ground game, and she's just going to trip Pena all the time and get all these takedowns. I kind of doubt it happens. I think Pena, is going a little bit under the radar in terms of the betting odds and everything like that, and in terms of other MMA content creators choosing the victor for this fight. And I think that's where a lot of people can capitalize in terms of, betting on underdogs. I'm going to go with Pena. I like Kayla Harrison and I like Pena. I don't really have anybody I'm rooting for with this fight. It's more so a spectacle to me, just to see who wins. But looking at this from an objective standpoint and analyzing fighting styles and stuff like that, I think Pena's going to come out with the victory. I think it's going to be a close fight. It's going to obviously go to a decision. And I think it's going to be Pena that comes out on top, because I believe the difference maker for this fight will be what happens on the feet. It'll be about who strikes better, who outstrikes the other. And I think Pena's going to outstruck Kayla Harrison. When it comes to ground game, I think it's a back and forth. Kayla Harrison might edge out Pena in terms of takedowns, but I have money on Pena getting right back up after she's been taken down. So, I think the ground game could go either way or just be a stalemate. I truly believe the decision maker for this fight is going to be what happens on the feet. It's going to be who outpunches the other, who has the higher significant strike percentage by the end of the fight. And I think Pena will. Her fight against Raquel Pennington was a good one, and Pena showed pretty strong leveling, especially on the feet. So I don't know. I think Pena's got it. I think she's got it. Pena will likely get tripped a couple times in the fight with, Kayla Harrison's expert judo throwing. I get it. But I don't really believe the judges are going to be way too wowed with it and decide to just bump up Kayla Harrison's score on the scorecards because she had a couple fancy trips on Pena. I think Pena is just going to show levels. I think it's really going to be a showing of levels, and a lot of people, a lot of fans who have money on Kayla Harrison and have hyped Kayla Harrison up to be this huge thing or huge, phenom. I think they'll all be shocked. I truly think they'll all be shocked. I think, even I will, because I wouldn't be surprised if Kayla Harrison won. I just think Pena's being overlooked, and I truly believe that she will prove all her doubters wrong this weekend. I just see it happening. Pena, by close decision, outstriking Kayla Harrison, surviving, the full 5 rounds without being submitted by Kayla Harrison, and that'll be that, Otherwise, I don't really have much else to say about this fight. It is a title fight. I'm not that drawn to it, but it is what it is. Let me know what you think. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and turn the notifications on. I love each and every one of you guys, and I will see you all in the next video. Glove knowledge.